Today, on Luke and Louie's Historic Challenges. We team up with Todd's Workshop for a unique game of balls.
I love it every single time, I love it. Love it, it's looking
that
good.
line is good.
Oh!
Pitting a trebuchet against a professional archer.
Oh! I heard a sound.
But who will be on target in this battle of medieval missiles?
Yes! That's a hit.
That's a hit.
That's a hit. It's a
Thank
five.
you, sir. The
It's
first time ever.
Oh.
Stick around to find out who wins and to see one of the best longbow shots in history.
No, he didn't. I think he did. We've got to get that on camera. Hello and welcome back to the History Hit YouTube channel. We've got a very exciting collaboration for you today with none other than Todd's Workshop. What are we doing?
Well, today we're going to be answering the question that everyone wants to know, which is who would win a game of bowls between a trebuchet and a longbow?
Do you know what? I have always wondered that.
We've got a cool job, haven't we?
For this competition, Todd's team has built us our very own sturdy fortification with a garrison of plywood knights. We assigned a score to each of the defenders, with the king in the middle being the most valuable target.
Having tossed a coin beforehand, Louie would be teaming up with Todd today to man the siege weapon, while I'd be backing our archer, Joe Gibbs.
Todd, lovely
Hi.
to meet you.
Yeah,
How's it
you
going?
too, yeah, good.
So today we are Team Trebuchet,
Yeah.
and we're here with this absolute beast of a machine. How do you rate our chances against a longbow today?
Well, you've got a few things going on, but basically ours are much heavier, much less prone to wind, and there's quite a lot of wind today. And so when they do hit, they will really hit hard.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's not that accurate. It's against fortifications, it's not against individual people, which is what we're trying to do today, really.
So Todd, tell me about this piece of kit. This trebuchet is maybe slightly smaller than the ones they'd have used in the medieval period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we look up here to this A-frame here, that is about 3 meters to the top, something like that. Now, we don't know how big their machines were. We just don't, because we don't have any in existence. But we can say from the performance of this and from other ones that have been made, they're obviously quite a lot bigger than this usually, maybe 3 times the size. This is effectively a scale model, but it allows us to play. So if you look at the tip of that arm now, if you think that the tip of that arm on a big one, a proper big machine, would be 8 or 10 stories off the ground. That's the kind of size of these things. So it's the height of a tower block.
Wow.
When we're talking about the accuracy of this thing, in many respects that's not important. Because if you think about when soldiers breach the wall, when knights breach the wall of a castle, and they want to go through, the men-at-arms want to pile through. If you've got a very narrow gap where you've taken out some of the wall, that allows your opponents to have a very small field of fire. It's a very easy thing for them to defend. The wider that gap, the harder it is for them to defend it. And so actually, if the shot from this thing comes a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, it's actually not a bad thing. So its slight inaccuracy kind of doesn't matter too much for fortifications.
Yeah.
If you want to snipe the king off the castle wall, this is not the tool for it.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, but sniping the king from roughly 140 metres away is exactly what I had in mind. Time to gauge my teammates' confidence.
Joe, nice
Hi,
to
Luke.
see you. Heard a lot about you.
Thank
Team
you.
Longbow.
Yep.
Now, how are you feeling today? I've seen you doing your warm-up exercises already.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of warm up. I've been shooting a long time, so 20 something years, so it's taking a toll on my body a bit. So I like to warm up a little bit just to start with. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how do you feel going up against the trebuchet?
It's a big machine, isn't it?
It is, but
Yeah.
you should have more control. I mean, it's about a football-sized distance
Yeah.
away.
I reckon I've got a pretty good chance of getting a few of the men at arms down there.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
What about the king? Sniping the king. That would have been amazing back in the day.
Yeah.
Can you try and recreate that for me?
I'm going to do my best.
You're gonna do your
There's a
best?
good shot of me getting him, I reckon.
And talk to me about the bow. Would it have been a similar size to that that a medieval archer would have been using?
So we have the Mary Rose bows from Henry VIII's flagship. I've been there many times, handled the bows, measured them. So this is basically a direct copy of one of the bows off the Mary Rose. I have lots of self-view bows at home, all various different draw weights, copied from the ship. So it's slightly later, the medieval period, but it's about the best we've got so far. This one's 140 pounds draw weight at 30 inches, so 10 stone, basically, you're having to hold apart.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of weight.
And how long did it take to really get used to that draw weight of 140 pounds?
So I've been shooting since I was sort of 13, 14, so I'm 36 now, so a long time. So to work up something like this and to shoot it accurately,
Yeah.
at least 5 years.
5 years,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I've got a lot of faith in you.
Thank you.
Let's see how we do.
Cheers.
But just before we unleashed hell on the fort, there was time to quickly go over the rules of the game.
Okay, so let's take a look at our target. We've got this pretty secure looking medieval pallet fortress with some pretty brave medieval knights taking cover behind it.
Exactly, but how is the challenge going to work? Well, we've allocated each of these knights a certain number of points. So we have the king at the front, he's worth 25 points in front of the red pallet. And behind him we have his bodyguard. These two are going to be worth 10 points each. And the surrounding 4 or 5 are going to be worth 5 points each. But what are we going to be hitting them with?
Yeah, the different projectiles that we're going to be using have different challenges associated with them.
Exactly. So Joe is going to be using one of these. This is a very sturdy looking longbow arrow. Now he's at a bit of a disadvantage. If he wants to hit one of the targets, he might have to try and shoot the arrow through one of these gaps. Very challenging, but he does have greater control over his shots.
He does, whereas control is less of an issue with the trebuchet because we're using these 7-kilo bowling balls. Wooden pallets aren't going to be much of a problem for this. If it's a direct hit with the trebuchet, it's going to do a lot of damage.
Let the challenge begin.
To keep things fair, both Team Trebuchet and Team Longbow had just 5 shots to collect as many points as possible. As I soon discovered, it was going to take Todd and I a little longer to reload.
Right, Todd, let's get ready for our first shot. How do we load this thing?
Yeah. Well, it's not instant, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Because as I said at the beginning, we've got to charge it up.
Yeah.
And there's half a ton there that we've got to charge. So really the first thing is that we've got to start pulling this rope down, which as you can see I can do it a little bit. And that has got to go all the way down. So we do that with a winch here.
Okie doke.
So that goes in and you can do as much of this as you want because it's really quite tiring.
Excellent.
Although Todd's machine uses a winch system for loading, contemporary evidence for how a trebuchet actually worked is patchy at best. Larger examples may even have used a man-powered hamster wheel mechanism to do the same job. It's also likely that siege weapons like this one would have been operated by a well-oiled team of engineers, the forebears of later gun crews. But one thing we don't know is how the thing was actually moved.
This machine is relatively small. So these timbers are 6 metres long. Now if we imagine 3 times up, that's an 18-metre timber. Yeah, you can split them down, but we're talking massively long, massively heavy timbers that might weigh several tons for the main ones. Those are difficult things to move around the countryside. I suspect what was going on was that the trigger system, the winch system, the things which were critical, maybe the big pivots, all of those big bits of ironwork that are difficult to do on site, you take those with you. But actually the main timbers which you can source something locally, just do that. So much less of a problem.
So partially a flat pack IKEA trebuchet, partially locally sourced on site.
I'm not sure if there's a sort of a modern obvious product parallel in a way, but yes, it is exactly that. Partially flat packed, you know, with a very good instruction manual, which is the master.
Well, we can see exactly how this is working. This arm is gradually coming down, isn't it?
So I'm just going to step around now and we need to just thank you for doing all this work for me, Bill.
Oh, not a problem.
So we now need to get this figure into position, so it's going to go into that loop there. So a couple more cranks down for you, and we will be there.
All right, Todd, so now's the good bit, right? Now's loading our first bowling ball.
Yes, so safety still, we've got our safety line on, but the ball goes in. I'll do all this if you don't mind, but
Yeah,
do you want to
no
shoot?
problem. I'd love to.
All right.
I'd love to.
Then it shall be done.
Red bowling ball,
Yeah,
lucky colour.
so I'm just making sure now that the lines are not tangled. So we're all good now. And that all feels good. So if you pick up the rope,
Okay.
I'm going to stand behind you. Remember, if it goes up in the air, keep an eye on it and then jump out of the way.
Okay, first shot, shot one. Let's do this,
Shot one.
Todd.
All right, fingers
So I'm
crossed.
giving this a big pull.
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Go! Whoa. I love it. Every single time I love
Goodness.
it. Oh, and then rolled and touched.
I think
So just short.
just short. Oh!
So a big splash in the moat, but
But do you know what? I almost don't care because that was so good.
it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just lovely to see it.
Oh,
you know?
the trajectory on that. It went. The height it gained.
It did. Actually, I've got a little secret though, is I've looked at the footage, slow-mo footage before, and you can make it go a little bit further by adjusting things like we said.
Okay.
And it actually releases at a really steep angle. And
Yeah.
if we dropped it a little bit, then that would help it go that bit further. But my other experience, don't change it on the day. What we'll do is we'll put a lighter ball in and that make it carry just that little bit further.
Like it. Good idea.
Not a bad first effort at all. In fact, with their line confirmed, I was beginning to worry this might not be a walk in the park after all.
So Joe, that was very close to hitting the king actually. I was getting a bit worried there. So they've got the line right, which puts a bit of pressure on, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Who are you going to aim for? Or are you just going to aim in the sort of general direction?
I'm gonna aim for the king,
Okay.
but obviously
what I like to hear.
I've had no warm-up shots or anything,
No.
so I'm going straight in cold, and we'll see what we can do.
I can confirm no warm-up shots have been had. But yeah, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
After you. Ooh! I heard a sound. I hit
But
you
something.
think you hit? Do you reckon you hit one of the
maybe
the
it
boards?
looked a bit long, but I've definitely hit something there.
But you've got the line
Yeah.
right. You've got the line. Okay, that bodes well for the next shot.
Right, so at this point, whilst I knew Joe had hit something, what I didn't realise is that it was perhaps one of the best long-range longbow shots ever caught on camera. Well, one of the best anyway. More on that later.
Very close, Louis. Be scared.
Right, Todd, I'm slightly worried about Joe's first shot because we heard it clank into something,
It
didn't
hit something,
we?
yeah.
But we've got a trebuchet. We can't lose with a trebuchet.
We need one good one.
Come on, let's do it. Let's
Right.
go for shot 2.
So this time I've gone, that fell short. So I've gone for a slightly lighter ball now.
Got it.
So we're 300 grams lighter. We'll see what this does. So this should go a bit further.
All right, shot 2.
Shot 2.
Come on, Todd, this is it.
Cross those fingers. Hey!
Oh. I think that's the wind. That's got to be the wind, surely.
It's wind or it's just all the chaos of those variables I was talking about. So that was 6-7 meters to the right hand side.
We're going to need a bigger castle.
Well, this is the thing, castles were big,
Yeah.
you know, and walls are big. That's all you needed to hit.
Don't worry about it. I'm still optimistic. 3 more shots.
Well,
We're
we
going
have
to do this.
one possible secret weapon.
Okay.
So I've got, you see the yellow ball there? It's got a massive crack on it from where it hit a rock before.
Who knows what that's going to do
It might
to our
act
shot.
a little bit like cluster munition, you know, it might hit and fragment. I don't know. We'll try it.
Interesting. Shrapnel.
Shrapnel.
That's not, yeah. Well, don't tell them about that, but I think that's a good idea.
With the siege engineers already resorting to desperate tactics, it was clear that things were going pretty well for Team Longbow.
Right, Joe, first shot, we heard a noise, so that bodes well. How do you think lines, wind-wise, it's picked up a little bit? You feeling confident?
Yeah, it's slightly more windier, but it shouldn't affect them too much. It's such a low trajectory for me that it shouldn't really be catching the wind a great deal. So I'm just going to do the same things I did last time.
With a crowd of keen spectators behind him, as well as a loud, buzzing drone, would the pressure get to Joe? Not this time. Anyway, back to Louie and his weird, cracked shrapnel ball thing.
So this is a little bit lighter than the first one we threw, so it should go a tiny bit further, but it's also cracked as heck.
Ah, yes.
So this is just from hitting stones previously or something. I'm expecting that it will land and it will break up, and maybe some of these bits, you know, it's cheaty, but who cares?
Yeah.
Some of these bits will go on to take out some other chaps.
Yeah. What we really need is a fuse in here so it explodes mid-air, but we probably can't do that right now.
That's a different film.
Okay, let's load this thing up. Go for shot 3. All right.
Ready to go?
Shot 3.
Shot 3. This one's going to do it.
This one's
Goodbye.
gonna do it. Come on.
Load! Oh, I love it. Every time I love it. It's looking
that
good.
That line is good.
Oh! Stayed in one piece as well, so everything didn't work.
So even the lightness of the ball didn't necessarily carry. I think it's the wind. It's got to be the wind.
Well, the wind can't help. I mean, it's windy here, but it's a lot windier up there. But, and here's the big but, it's going to affect Joe a lot more than it'll affect us.
Luckily for us, the wind did seem to be affecting Joe's aim. With 3 shots down and only 2 remaining, it was time to get a score update, and more importantly, find out where Joe's first arrow had landed.
The arrow's right there.
What? Yeah. So now I don't know. Wait, did he hit the king?
I went through the king's head.
No, he didn't.
I think it did. I think
We've got to get that on camera.
Don't worry, Luke, we did. A quick check of the footage confirmed we'd witnessed something special.
Still not quite believing that Joe had seriously taken out the king with a headshot on his first attempt, we invited our teammates to inspect the damage.
Right. Well, here's our third shot, Todd. Maybe the less said about this one, the better, because it's some distance off the castle, isn't it?
It is, but I'm going to override you here because I want to say something about it.
Go on.
This is what has been infuriating me about this machine for months. That ball there is lighter than that one, and it's gone 10 metres less. And it's that variability. Every single shot has got so many variables in it. You get kind of accuracy, it kind of goes down here, but it doesn't do that pinpoint accuracy that you need for a game like this.
Ah, frustrating, isn't it? Let's go see shot 2. Well, shot 2 was over there, wasn't it?
So shot 2 was a lighter ball. You'd
Yeah.
expect it to go further. It did go further, but importantly, well, in fact, you can see here, that's where it struck. Okay? You can see the impact.
Yeah, that's a good distance, to be fair. So that's a little bit misleading, isn't it? Ending up over there.
Because it's rolled on. But in fact, had this been online,
yeah,
it may or may not have gone through one of those pallets there.
those walls could have come down.
They could have come down, yeah.
And then shot 1.
Yeah, well, best of the lot, ultimately.
This is definitely my favourite. It's kind of sad that the momentum ran out sufficiently that it kind of just tapped the wall, right?
Yeah.
Rather than smashing through. But we had cause for optimism at that point.
We did. I mean, you know, I've been doing this for a while. I know not to get too excited. I love the shot and the result less exciting. But here we are, you know.
2 shots left. What do you reckon?
Well, I'm gonna do something which is never recommended, and that is to start changing variables in the middle of a competition.
Okay.
So, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to make the sling a little bit longer, and that should make it shoot just a little bit further, which is what we need for this.
Sounds good.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll add about 30 centimetres a foot into the length of the sling, see what that does. It should make quite a significant difference.
Great.
What did Joe do then, huh?
I may have just pulled it on that third shot. Yeah.
And you may or may not have been dealing with the drone coming right above your head as well.
Yeah.
So
I think that put
we'll
me
move
off a
on.
little bit.
We'll move on to the second one. Now this one, I mean, there would have been people around here. We're just unlucky
Yeah.
that there hasn't been a target put up in this place.
If you follow the angle of that one, it's just would have just clipped. You know,
Oh, yes.
just literally coming over the
so
top.
would have just come just
Just
over
come
the
in and
top
just straight
of the
in.
king's head. Now speaking of the king, now when I came over here, I saw this was the first arrow we had, and man, I thought this has got to be really, really close.
Yeah.
And if we come around here,
Let's have a look.
you can see right here, I believe
Oh yes.
you've managed to hit on your first go, because that's the only one that it could have been, because that was the only one we heard the noise.
And it's fresh target as well, so.
Fresh target,
Yeah.
no warm up, and you've hit the king in the head. Sniped him.
Yep.
25 points. It's
Nice.
incredible. How does that make you feel?
I'm pretty chuffed with that one actually, to be fair.
I mean, what are the chances?
I would have expected it in the 5, I reckon, but first one.
Oh, so you backed yourself to get to hit the king within the 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But for the first one, I'm pretty chuffed with that.
First go, 25 points. It's 25-0 at the moment, Louis. You've got your work cut out.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. The odds were certainly against us now, but we were hoping that some small adjustments to the trebuchet would change our fortunes.
There is a danger as that ball comes through now that it could end up hitting the winch system,
Okay.
because everything's changed now. Clearances have changed. So we need to be aware of that. So we'll go to the end of the rope this time.
Got it. Do you know what, Todd? I'm gonna just for the change, in tactics.
I know what's coming.
You're gonna pull it this
All
time.
right, lovely. No problem. Good. So,
Fourth time. Come on. This is
fourth
it.
time. We are all good to go. Brilliant.
Right. Come on then, Todd.
Right.
Let's do this.
Desperate times, desperate measures. Loose!
Oh, I mean, it just feels great every time. Come on, a bit right.
Oh!
Yes!
Oh!
Ah. Hey,
Is that a hit?
That's a hit.
That's a hit.
That's a hit. It's a 5.
Thank you, sir. The
It's
first time ever.
Ah, that feels great. It's a 5-pointer. Listen, he might have been able to step out of the way of that, but who cares? Who cares? We just hit that with a trebuchet.
We did, but I'll tell you now, actually, I've stood when people shoot arrows at me, blunt ones, but it's actually really difficult. If you have one thing coming for you, that's fine.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He's got the arrows coming in, he's got other rocks, he's got guys around him distracting him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have seen it coming.
We've
Not
taken
like
his
that.
shins out.
Oh, he took
I
his-
mean, he's out of action, isn't he? He's not fighting anymore.
Shall we big it up some more?
Yeah.
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 Lovely.
Best shot ever.
Yeah, it probably killed all his ancestors as well, didn't we?
Brilliant.
Right, Joe, pressure's on. They've somehow managed to hit one of the targets. Only 5 points though, so not too much pressure. You were saying the bow's a little bit wet now. There's been some rain in the meantime. Has that affected anything? Will that affect anything?
It just makes it a little bit slippery, but yeah, doesn't really. It should be all right.
Nothing on you, mate.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry.
fine.
Right, let's try and get some more points.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit short. We'll see soon. We'll see soon.
Oh dear, oh dear. That look on my face really says it all, doesn't it? What's more, it was decided that for entertainment purposes, we would be taking our final shot first, meaning Louis and Todd could claim victory with the last throw of the game. That is, of course, unless we ruined any hopes of a grand finale before then.
If you hit anything here, we wipe them out of the game, okay?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the same as before.
Same as before.
Fingers crossed.
No change of tactic. I mean, they've had a bit of a change of tactic here, but
No,
no,
that's
same
only
as.
'cause they were worried they changed their tactic.
Ah, that's it. Okay, we're in their heads. We're in their heads, Joe. Go on, go for it. Ooh, I heard a ping there. I heard a ping. They're looking worried over there. They're looking worried over there. We shall see where that landed, but hopefully we've ruined their dreams.
We didn't know it at the time, but with Joe's final arrow hitting nothing more than a wooden pallet, we were still in with a chance of winning. All we had to do was either hit the king, or, by some miracle, a combination of other targets. Resorting to the kind of superstition that was typical of the Middle Ages, I decided our best hope was to retrieve our lucky red ball from the previous shot.
Oh, nice run, Louis.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Right then, Todd, the rain is pouring. It's time for our dramatic final shot. We've got our lucky red bowling ball. What can go wrong?
Everything. Right, now, what we've got to do, and we can win. We can win.
Of course we can.
So if we get the king, or if we get king and one of the bodyguards, which is possible,
Yeah.
then we're in.
Honing in on that red pallet.
Yeah. So, a little bit of finger crossing might be handy, but the last one, the range was brilliant. Range was brilliant. So our little sling adjustment was exactly what we wanted. The line wasn't quite right.
No.
But now is our moment.
This is it. This is it.
We ready?
Right, come on then, Todd.
Okay.
This is going to be a big moment for history here and Todd's workshop. Come on.
This is. Nice!
Oh, lovely.
Good.
Go on, bit right. Oh. Oh.
It touched it again.
Listen, Todd, we've hit their castle twice.
Man once.
Yeah, listen, we hit a guy. They only hit it once, and they've got, you know, the team Longbow. Guys, I'm not sure if we've learned anything of historical importance today, but we've certainly had fun, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was very, very surprised that you managed to hit one of those knights with the trebuchet. I mean, you were getting very close each time as well. Just a little bit extra, even with that adjustment, I think you would have knocked the whole thing down.
It was good. I mean, the adjustment was definitely worth doing. There's no doubt about that, because it did take it a little bit further. But I think actually I'll probably give it a little bit more actually on that and make the ropes a bit longer. But I think the other thing that we have learned is we didn't see the devastation of the balls hitting, but you know that 7 kilos dropping from 40 metres in the air is going to do something.
Absolutely.
So you can see that Joe's weapon is an individual weapon. It's shot by one man at one man. This thing is shot by a crew of men at a bunch of men. And that is the fundamental difference of it. He has accuracy, we clearly didn't.
Wow.
Well, yeah, let's
three out of 5 hit something.
That's true. And the other thing is, in my head, it was spectacular in my dreams. Reality, not so good.
Well, I think we should talk about that shot. Very first shot without any practice. Managed to snipe the king straight in the head. So it just shows a combination of this weapon and archers. I mean,
I'm just going to chime in there actually, because people don't realise, I'm bigging you up here, Joe, they just don't realise how good he is. I'm telling you now, Joe did not do a single test shot today. He went there, he picked up his bow, he shot and he put it through the guy's head.
I mean, a guy with a sniper rifle would be proud of that shot. They actually would.
And I'll tell you what, Louis, it was a lot better than we could have done.
Yeah. Let's forget about that video. Joe, is that one of the best shots of your life?
It's a good shot. I wouldn't say the best shot, but it's a decent shot.
That's a hole in one. That's a hole in one.
It is good.
Right, well, cheers, Todd. Thank you for today.
Absolute pleasure.
It's been
yeah,
great
really.
fun.
Thanks, guys. And
And
Joe.
cheers,
Joe. Thank you.
Joe,
Cheers.
thanks very much.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate.
Cheers.
Right. Welcome to the History Hit YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed that video.
And if you'd like to see more videos where we attempt to try and bring history to life, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.